And good morning, everybody, and welcome into another edition of the Pass and Half Sports Show. I'm your host, James Scorza, with you, and with me, as always, is a group of companions on this very important Saturday. Joey Marks on this very important Saturday, and the man himself, the boss man, Mitch Kofsky, once again joins us. Gentlemen, what's going on? And happy early bird Saturday afternoon, Saturday morning, or happy Birds Day, whatever you want to call it.
Divisional playoff game.
Divisional playoff game. That felt miserable for you, obviously.
Mitch is all choked up about it. See what happened?
Joke sweep.
Good morning, Philadelphia, and welcome in. We got a lot to cover. Good morning, Mitch. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. So hyped about the Eagles. Can't wait for tomorrow. Disappointed about the Sixers, and yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot to we're gonna dive into everything all about that. Obviously, we'll talk about this Eagles-Packers review, the state of the Sixers, and some fire surprises. So, Joe, we got a busy schedule ahead of us. Simply put, where do we begin on this beautiful Saturday?
Well, much like Mitch brought up, we have to bring up those Sixers, and we're almost at that midway point of the season, and I figured with the swearing in of the new president. We need to do a state of the.
Let's not go crazy, Joe, about that. But that's another story.
It's happening. I mean,
I understand that.
With the state of the, we should go in and do a state of the team address. And so I'm going to give a brief statement, and then I'm going to hand it off to Mitch and you to kind of add in your brief synopsis of what you feel this team, what the state of this team is currently. So the Sixers, we walked into this season with Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, and Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid coming off a gold medal performance. And we had high expectations with all the free agent signings and all the people that, could contribute now. And then having a rookie come in and completely surprise everyone, much like Maxey did in his rookie campaign. The Sixers looked like they were on the way up, all the way up to the penthouse. But we were bamboozled, folks, because Joel Embiid, Paul George, other people, management, ownership, coaching, from top to bottom, the Sixers had fooled us all. And you thought that they just fooled us with the stadium. Nope, they just fooled the city with that. The team itself fooled us with the product, or the lack thereof of the product that they put on the floor day in and day out. We pay hard money, if you want to say that $4, if you want to fill your arena, is that the way you want to go about it? Fine. But here's the thing, with a Joel Embiid, a Paul George, a Tyrese Maxey, with a Nick Nurse head coach, and a great supporting cast, my question then becomes, what do you do now, Daryl Morey? Okay, the trade deadline is in a little more than a month from now. You have a month. You have 30 days, Mr. Morey, to figure out how to line up your ducks so that you can figure out how to make a trade. Because if we're just sitting on the outside looking in of that play-in tournament, you best believe that you better make the play-in tournament, that this team better make the play-in tournament. Because if this team went from relevant to irrelevant and we put out another $200 million for an aging swingman like Paul George, you got a lot of explaining to do. That's all I'm going to say. The state of the Sixers is in disrepair because disarray, disrepair, disrespect. Like, there's a lot of dissing that the Sixers are doing because they're not paying attention. You guys need to understand that this might be just a business to you, whether it's from the players or the management or the coaches. This might be just a business to you, but to the fans, it's much, much more. We haven't had a championship in this town in basketball in over 40 years. Listen, I'm not expecting that this team is going to have a miraculous turn of events in the second half of this season. What I am saying is the way that we can start to gain hope in this season is by Daryl Morey putting his head down and bringing in somebody through the trade deadline that can best support and galvanize this team, because this team is just not working. Mitch, I will have you go next with your state of the Sixers address.
You know what's tough is that I live stream every single game, most likely, and I do post games over at Steampunk Entertainment. Shout out Steve. Uh, Dude, it's a dumpster fire. It is honestly a dumpster fire. This is worse than the process years because we knew with the process years, we knew what we were getting. We knew we weren't going to have those high expectations. We knew we had these young guys who were going to give it all, that we had these coaches that were terrible. But with this, like you said, such high expectations, everything falling down the flat, and then just injuries, bro. Just the health of the team. Joel Embiid is never being healthy. You got like Kyle Lowry always injured, which is actually honestly maybe a good thing. I'm just putting that there. Eric Gordon being too old, all these guys there, it just doesn't. It's not a cohesive unit. There is no chemistry here. Like when you watch the New York Knicks play against us, you see the off-ball movements, you see the cuts, you see the team chemistry, you see the brotherhood. There's nothing like that here. There is not. And Nick Nurse, I have a conspiracy theory. Maybe you guys agree with me here. I don't think he has control of this lineup. I really think it's Daryl Morey on the higher ups, because when you look at all this roster and their contracts, like the Eric Gordon contract, the Paul George contract, and all that stuff, they want them on the court. But Nick Nurse back in Toronto, he was always known for playing the young guys, but now he's got to play the older guys and stuff like that. So it's just like, I think it's Daryl Morey and them controlling this lineup. And then once you go back to before the preseason, there was a Nick Nurse press conference. And they were asking him, where's Joel Embiid? Where's Embiid? He's like, I don't know. They haven't told me anything. Where's the communication? Where's the teamwork and all that stuff? So that's all I got to say about this.
James, I know that you don't want your head to explode, so please don't.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it PG. I'll try to keep it PG.
Try to keep yourself confined and under control.
I try.
What is your state of the Sixers address?
Yeah, I mean, man, there's so much stuff going on in this team.
Yeah.
That it's hard. It's really hard to put into words. Obviously, what's been going on with this team, but honestly, I think I kind of expected it at the same time, because I feel like at the same time when it happened, it was like you're bringing in like a player like a Paul George, you're bringing in a guy that's well within plus 30 years old. Joel Embiid can get on the court like just to save his own hole from it. It's blankety blank from a ground, obviously. But the problem is, I really thought that the problem is that when that Joel Embiid injury bug came into an existence, like it kind of divided the team. Actually, I think that's probably what happened, was because you think about it, because it felt like after Joel Embiid went out with the injury, and obviously, like I brought up on previous shows, I said to myself that this player has to be capable to play a full 82-game season. And now majority of the games that he's played this year is not even close to that mark, or not even at 50 games, and he's still out with injuries like that. Yeah. And the problem I have with the Sixers team is just that I feel like with Nick Nurse, it's like, how much more can he take? It kind of feels like I'm waiting for like a Dick Vermeil kind of like SQ, like for him to just say, you know what, I can't do this anymore and I quit, just got to resign like right then and there. But the problem is I have with the Sixers too is that Tyrese Maxey is probably one of the only guys on the team that actually is doing something. I mean, other than him and Jared McCain are probably going to be the two tone setters for those two teams in the season. I mean, not in the season, but in future references, obviously. But as far as Joel Embiid, I'm done with him. I'm done with him. You know, I was already done with him, but I think now I'm at the pinnacle now. I'm like, you know what? I'm throwing in the damn towel. I'm done with this crap, dude.
So here's my thing. I agree with what you guys are saying about Nick Nurse. This is my feeling, and unfortunately, I think Nick Nurse is going to be collateral damage, and I don't think Josh Harris has the balls to do it.
That too.
Unfortunately. But you remember a year or two ago, James, me and you were on a conversation on a show.
Oh yeah.
We had a conversation about Chuck Fletcher and what
Sure.
the Flyers ownership had to do, and we were very angry. We were
Absolutely.
very upset about the state of what that team was in.
Mm-hmm.
And we literally said from ownership down, we have to clean house.
Mm-hmm.
We know what that means. We know that means we're not going to be good for a while. We understand that, but we'd rather clean house and have a fresh start and breathe a breath of fresh air, even if it's going to be some trials and tribulations. And you got rid of Chuck Fletcher. Torts is still here. You had Keith Jones and Danny Briere, who done a hell of a job. You know, like the ownership is a bit different. For me, the Sixers have to look at this like Daryl Morey, Nick Nurse have to go. And like, because this needs a whole philosophy change. Now, you guys might say, well, you're still stuck with the players. Well, I got a solution for that too. In the offseason, because of the max contracts, you're going to be able to trade both Paul George and Joel Embiid. I think you're right. Jeremy Kane and Tyrese Maxey are the future of this team. Yeah. You still have a couple of young pieces that are showing something, which is why I think Nick Nurse is trying to give them playing time, because if they're going to survive the exile or the shattering of this team, they want to know what they have. So I think you're going to see this. This is what the Sixers should do. I'm not saying that this is what they're going to do. They should fire sale Joel Embiid and Paul George to teams and gain any kind of assets back. Now, what does that mean? If you're taking Daryl Morey and Nick Nurse out kicking them out the door, and then you're taking Joel Embiid and Paul George and you're fire sailing them, to the fan base, it's saying to me the same thing that the firing of Chuck Fletcher was saying. We're not starting new, but this is a whole new mentality. This is a whole new thing. And so I honestly think I would welcome that breath of fresh air. Mitch, would you?
I would 100%. Like a fresh air, a new clean slate, and especially with Josh Harris. If he can sell the team, that's just blessing in disguise, because you see what he's doing with the Commanders right now. Oh my living God!
Right.
I'm like, you can't do this here, but you can do it there. Like, that's a whole nother story. But
the Devils.
Yeah, and the Devils. Yep.
Yeah.
And I forget what soccer team too. He owns a soccer team.
Yeah, I forget. I forget.
My dad knows. I'll talk to him later.
So let's go from the doldrums to not so much the doldrums. Let's go to the ice, the Flyers state of the team. Now, this team has surprised me. I'm not going to lie. I did have this team, doing well this season. I did. But I didn't think they would do this well, and I didn't think there would be some players on this team that would step up the way that they have. I honestly am very impressed. Look, the Flyers are still a ways away from a cup, but they're not that far from a playoff. We have to grow baby steps in progress. And with Mitch Koff, with some of the young talent that we have on this team, what?
I just looked at Mitch and I said, "You know where we're going."
What happened?
Mitch,
no, I mean Mitch Kofsky and Mitch Cobb.
Dude,
let's get your name trademarked, and he can pay you using his last name.
You should be as associated.
I don't think did I ever tell you this? When he got drafted, people were DMing me, congrats on getting drafted by the Flyers.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm sitting there going, what is he talking about? That I put your name together and you say it fast enough.
Mitch.
Yes, I get Mitch Kofsky. Mitch
Yeah.
Kofsky.
There
Yeah.
you go. There you go.
I
Yeah.
will tell you this, Mitch, on a side note.
Yeah.
I talked to a friend not that long ago, and I told him about me joining Hardcore Sports Network and everything like that. And, I brought your name up, and he's like, Mitch Koff? What is he, Russian? And I'm like, no, that's the guy that
I
plays.
actually am.
I'm like, that's the guy that plays for the Flyers. And I'm like, but yeah, okay.
Well, it's kind of like, what do you call it? I remember I was watching this podcast from a long time ago. It was Bam Margera's friend, Rap himself, did a podcast with Tony Cavallero, and his wife was like, I thought it was Steve Caballero. It's like, no, that's Cavallo, not Cavallero.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah,
my state of the team for the Flyers is that the needle is pointing up. And
Yeah, sure.
the thing that I feel confident about is the nucleus of this team and what that nucleus is going to show. Mitch Koff is part of that. Morgan Frost is another part of that. You want to take credit for Morgan too?
People give me credit for Quinyon Mitchell too.
Oh jeez.
Oh my God.
God forbid. Please. No Philadelphia teams. No more guys named Mitch. Like the guy. You know who I thought about? Like with your name, Mitch. So there's the tight end for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Oh boy.
Mitchell Evans, I think his name.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And I'm like, the Eagles need a tight end. I'm like, don't draft Mitchell Evans. Like, I don't need this. Like,
hey, I want the tight end from
Mitch.
I want the tight end from Michigan or Penn State, even though I hate Penn State.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, he's a good player, man.
By the way,
I mean, you know how much of a big Georgia fan I am. I would love to go with Bowers, but I mean, he's put the Raiders, and he's going to be suffering for the rest of his tenure there.
Career,
he actually set
the his career is done. Mitch.
He set the rookie record for catches. So
yeah.
I had him in fantasy.
There you go.
Here's my thing on a side note: Go Irish! National championship Monday.
I'm a Michigan fan. Yeah.
What's that?
I'm a Michigan fan.
I know. Just gonna make you puke in your mouth too, Mitch.
You had yours last year. Relax, Mitch. Relax.
Hey,
you had yours, and then your coach decided to go to greener pastures. Relax.
I mean, I'm rooting for the Buckeyes this weekend because of my buddy Kenny Vaughn. I know. I'm sorry, Mitch. I know. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all good. It's all good.
You know, I wish Mitch was producing so he could cut your mic. What are you talking about?
I can do that right now.
Don't bring that nonsense.
Hey, I mean, look, I got a guy that lives in Ohio. Okay, give me some slack. Help a brother out, dude.
I have a guy in Ohio, but that doesn't mean I have an uncle in Ohio. It doesn't mean I'm rooting for Ohio State. Buckeyes can go. Never mind.
All right, let's get back on track.
Back to the Fly guys.
Yes.
So I'm going to start with you, James. What's your state of the team address to the Flyers?
Basically a lot better than it was with the Sixers, obvious, when you think about it. Because, I mean, you think about it, like, this Flyers team, I have to be honest with you. I mean, sure.
James, time out.
What's that?
Go back to that statement one more time. The Flyers are better than the Sixers.
Yes.
Did you ever think at this time last year, did you ever think you would say that statement on air?
You know what's funny? You know what's really funny? The Flyers team and this year have become more better than both the Sixers they had both combined seasons, dude.
Wow.
I mean, look, there's nothing that they are doing. I mean, look, I got to say right now, I really do like what this team is bringing to the table. I mean, I like Jonesy's approach to it. I mean, Danny Briere was my favorite player going back to when we first got him there. When we first got him in Philadelphia, I said, this team's going to go win a Stanley Cup in a couple of years. And when you know it, they were in the Eastern Conference Final in 2008 and then in 2010, obviously. But the one thing I really do like about this team is they're bringing back that Ed Snyder mentality. They're not bringing I barely see. I mean, everybody talks about Gritty, but how big famous he was. I mean, I barely hear him scratch the surface anymore. I mean, look, the stuff, I mean, back then I would get annoyed about it because the Flyers team was so bad, and the only thing we had to rely on is that mascot and all that. But now I feel like, I don't have a problem with him anymore because the Flyers are playing relevant hockey again. I mean, it's kind of like the one thing I was really intrigued about, too, is that the team is young, they're fast, and by the way, too, I really do like John Tortorella's approach to it, too. And I always wanted him to go in back to even like before. I know we had the Alain Vigneaults, we had the Greg Berubes and all that, but I'll tell you this much: John Tortorella has really been a very good asset for the Flyers. And I gotta say this with a lot of true honesty: I never would have thought the Flyers would be at this point playing very good hockey. Well, not playing very good hockey, but good hockey. But down the road, they're going to be a good team going forward.
You know what? Before I throw it to Mitch, James, I want to say that like 2 years ago, we said that the way that the Flyers have to rebuild, me and you kind of architect this thing. We were like, you have to start it in the farm system. You have to breed the stars there to bring them up, because that's how, like, back in the 90s, in the early 2000s, that's how a lot of the Flyers teams were able to thrive year after year after year. And so I feel like they're getting back to that core philosophy, is build it through the farm system.
Right.
See what you have, and then evaluate it. Get rid of the things you don't need to build a juggernaut machine going forward. Mitch, what do you say is the state of the team for the Philadelphia Flyers?
This is how you do a proper rebuild. I'm telling you, you have the young guys that actually want to play. You have a guy you want to build around, and you have a coach that actually wants to win and is actually control your lineup. So this is a proper rebuild. Sixers can learn from this, and need a better goalie. That is one, and he also said to protect me. That's why.
Yes, I was gonna piggyback what you said about that too. He said the Flyers got to get some guys and that are gonna bully around people and protect Mitch in the process.
Yeah, you're gonna need some protection. That's for sure. But
oh man,
look, listen.
We have fun here.
Me and James, me and James have covered this on the post game show. Is that yes? It's not a hidden secret that the Flyers need a goaltender. Right now, they're just, as I've said it to James on the post game, I feel like they're auditioning the three goalies that they have now as the backup. They haven't gotten their starting goaltender. Neither of these goaltenders are going to be the starting goaltender. They haven't gotten past losing Carter Hart. Like that, that was a big hit.
Yeah.
And my feeling is, now I'll ask this to you, James, because you're the Flyers, you're the hockey aficionado.
Sure.
Do you think, what is the better avenue to get a big, like a franchise goalie? Is it free agency or is it the draft?
Well, I'll tell you this much. I think it's free agency because the goaltender, I mean, for me, the draft can go so far. Obviously, you can draft a goaltender you want and all that stuff, but they don't play until maybe 3 or 4 years because they go down in the American League or probably go down in Europe and all that, and they start to become a goaltender and all that. But I mean, there's a couple goaltenders that I actually would like the Flyers to try to look for if they are really desperate to try to make a postseason push. Tristan Jarry is one guy from the Pittsburgh Penguins who got waived by the Penguins early on in the week. So that would be something to look into. But then again, who knows if how bad he's playing. Obviously, maybe the reason why they got rid of him because it was just that he's not a good goaltender. And by the way, speaking of the Penguins last night, their backup Nedeljkovic pulled a Hextall, scored a goal in a game last night. So that's a kind of
the Penguins are so desperate they're getting their goaltender to score goals. Wow.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing too. They're not playing good hockey right now, but they're just like on the edge of the knife, obviously. But for me, I mean, I guess the thing you have to look for is like probably free agency to help the groom a team to see what they have in store. But if they want to like if they want to draft a goaltender just to build them into the system, I mean that's an okay that's good too on their part as well. But at the same time, it's that I mean free agency will be my top priority, Joe.
Yeah, I agree. So Mitch, you brought it up before. Mitch Kofsky, Mitch Kof.
Mitch Kofsky, same
So
thing.
the Flyers have a good star that wants to play that they can revolve their team around.
Yeah.
We have a great sponsor here. We have a team that with the Flyers that has a superstar that is potentially going to be the next Ovechkin or whatever you want to call it.
I say Sergei Fedorov, but that's the same.
But if you want to get your hands on a Mitch Kofsky, not Mitch Kofsky, See, why did you?
It's a tongue twister, isn't it?
Okay, I'm going to start that again, folks. Take two.
Take two, right? That's what I always say too.
If you want to get your hands on a Mitch no. Okay, take three.
What?
You know what? Hold on, Mitch might help.
On a Mitch Hoff autographed product.
We just lost Mitch. Oh my god.
No, I'm here. I just did that so he can do it.
If you want to get your hands on an autographed Mitch Hoff jersey or apparel or product, please check out our sponsors at sportsmemorabilia.com. James, tell them more about it before I put us even more in the gutter.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Today's show is sponsored by our friends over at sportsmemorabilia.com. Sportsmemorabilia.com is authentic, certified, and genuine because right now you can get your fix on with the most iconic memorabilia from all your iconic players, from your Philly sports teams, players, unforgettable moments, and so much more at sportsmemorabilia.com. But don't forget to scan that QR code, at the bottom of your screen and add to your collection. I mean, sure, it's at the end of the holidays, but nothing better to bring in New Year's resolutions for you guys, or visit them online at sportsmemorabilia.com. That's at sportsmemorabilia.com.
And for anybody, Valentine's Day is coming up, so it might be a good present for Mitch Kofsky to get a Mitch Kof autograph, something or other.
My friend sent me a picture of him, and he's like a little bit taller than me. He actually took a picture with him, and I'm like, dude, I need a picture with you now.
Okay,
what the hell?
So I got to ask, do you ice skate, Mitch?
No.
Okay. Then
No.
we're safe.
Then we're safe. That's your superior, Joe. Good news. Mitch doesn't skate, so we're good now.
Well, we can't mix them up now. Like,
no, I get it.
Well, I mean, like, I'm not worried about his safety as much as I'm worried about the Flyers' safety. All of a sudden, Mitch Koff's going to be like talking Russian, and Mitch Koff.
I'm actually part Russian. I'm like part Russian.
Oh my god,
this is going off the rails. This is going off the rails, and we have to get it back on the rails.
We got to get it back on the rails.
Okay.
Jesus.
So let's get it back on the rails with the team that is playing for something magical. The Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes, sir.
Philadelphia Eagles in the wild card round defeated the Green Bay Packers heavily. Guys, I got to ask, what were your takeaways from the Packers game? Mitch, I'll start with you.
A.J. Brown's got to get the ball more. I don't know if it was him being injured or whatnot, but he's got to get the ball more. That's the first thing. Second thing.
You didn't know he was preparing for his book club meeting? I mean, you didn't know that?
No.
You're in the know.
Apparently, man. I'm in the know now. We get to Quinion Mitchell, I guess. But when you, Saquon Barkley in the first half, only running the ball 8 times, finishing the game with 25. Like, I'm not really liking that. and I really like that
okay.
on.
Gotcha.
Top two. Those are my top two takeaways.
James, what were your takeaways from the Packers game?
Well, I'll say it right now. This is the one thing I was talking about all week with my dad. Obviously, they had to play a full 60 minutes of football. I mean,
Yeah.
the one thing I was really intrigued about in this game is that sure they played like a vanilla conservative kind of game, but that was probably kind of the plan that they were trying to do because, like, obviously the defense would it's been all season the number one best defense. Sure, Jalen Hurts looked, and I quote, rusty, but he didn't have to look like he didn't look that part. I mean, the one thing I was really intrigued about was like the first play of the game, like the opening kickoff, like making like the fumble that happened that occurred obviously, and then right down the field, and they scored on the first drive of the opening drive that scored a touchdown. When did we ever heard the words a first quarter touchdown in the very first minute of the game all season? I mean, that was the one thing I was really intrigued about too. But for me, the way they put pressure on Jordan Love, the way they made obviously, I would say my Georgia Bulldogs came out and feast again, and also my condolences and also well wishes to my boy Nakobe Dean, who suffered an injury in that game, and I wish him all the best in his full recovery. But Nolan Smith came out and played his ass off, dude. I really thought he really played a really good game. And for me, I mean, that's going to be the same kind of mentality this week. I think if they find a way to put pressure on Matthew Stafford like they did around in week 12 and not week 2 rather, like because everybody thinks that week 12 was a few weeks, not a few weeks ago, but a few months ago, that's going to tell you all you need to know. And the last time I checked, Joe, the last time Matthew Stafford played a game in the snow was that snowball game 11 years ago.
And how'd that turn out for him?
And how did it turn out for him? There you go. And by the way, let me say this too about Jared Verse before you go any further, guys. Jared Verse said this week that he said he hates Philadelphia sports fans. Dude, you haven't even scratched the surface yet. You don't even know what Philadelphia is like. Like, what are you talking about, dude? I would understand if you came to Temple. I mean, you played for like a game at Temple when they were when the Matt Rule days and they were like playing relevant football. But you haven't seen nothing yet, bro.
Okay,
Time's yours.
I'm gonna touch base on all that in a minute. So some of my takeaways with the Packers game, intense violence is what I kind of pulled away from it.
Yes, sir.
The Eagles got back to a kind of gameplay that I haven't seen in decades.
Mm-hmm.
And from word go, like this team was flying around that field like their hair was on fire.
Mm-hmm.
But the Packers, I mean, people said this. It was like the second version of the body bag game because they were carting folks off for the Packers. It was just like the veracity that these guys came to play with was a whole nother level. They amped it up to 100 and kept it there. And for what it is, look, so that was one takeaway. The other takeaway is all this talk about Jalen Hurts playing rusty or average or below average.
Mm-hmm.
The guy had 2 touchdowns, throwing touchdowns. I don't care. People who are like, well, the first one was kind of handed to him. No touchdown is ever handed to you.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
But no touchdown is ever handed to you in the NFL. Go ask Jordan Love that because he only got 1, and it wasn't even his. Josh Jacobs scored the touchdown.
Yeah.
So you have to understand getting touchdowns in the NFL is difficult. Just because someone like Josh Allen makes it look easy or Jared Goff makes it look easy doesn't mean that it is easy. It may be easy in that circumstance, in that situation. But my feeling is Jalen Hurts is going to always learn from his gameplay. He's always going to learn and he's always going to get better. When the lights get brighter, he gets better. And so from my standpoint, you're going to see better Jalen Hurts play come tomorrow. And listen, I also feel this kind of way. The indictment that Jalen Hurts gets for how much statistics he puts up because of the talent on his team. So he's supposed to throw more because he's got AJ and Devontae. Okay,
Right.
hold on. You have Saquon Barkley. That dude is beasting it right now.
Right.
Why the hell would you, in what right mind would you go away from that? You don't. Like, and for people who are like, well, if he throws more, he would score more points. Also, keep in mind, if you throw more and score more points, you're giving the ball back to the other team. So you're putting your defense in a bad situation.
And also exhausting your defense too, Joe.
Right. And you would think, okay, if this defense is on the field more, maybe they're not as successful. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it could happen. So I mean that's my takeaway, and we'll get into what your takeaway with the Rams in a couple minutes. If you want tickets for the Eagles game for tomorrow, you still can get them. Go to our great sponsors, ticketnetwork.com. James, tell them more about it.
Yeah, Joe, today's show is also sponsored by our friends over at TicketNetwork.com. TicketNetwork.com is a proud sponsor to the Philadelphia Eagles, and now you can score a touchdown on the road to victory with the best seats in the house with our friends over at Ticket Network. Whether it's the best seats in the house or budget-friendly in between, Ticket Network has got you covered. But remember to scan that QR code at the bottom of your screen and secure your spot today with the best seats in the house. That is at TicketNetwork.com. That's at TicketNetwork.com today.
All right, so let's turn the page. We're in the division round, boys. There's 8 teams left in the NFL.
Sorry.
Mitch, give me your breakdown of what you think is going to happen tomorrow with the Eagles and the Rams.
What I think is going to happen, first, Devontae Smith is going to break the all-time receiving record in the playoffs. Let's just break that. He only needs 6 more yards, so let's get that out of the way.
Right.
That is just crazy, and he's only 26. That is unbelievable. But,
yeah, right.
Wait a minute, crazy. He's going to break what now?
Wait, what's this?
Howard Carmichael's receiving record for the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he's only 26, so
wow,
that's right out of the gate. Jalen Hurts.
Damn, he's younger than me.
Yeah, he's younger than me.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Continue, Mitch. I'm not saying a word. I'm not saying a word to both of you. Go ahead, Mitch.
All right. But let's get it started with Jalen Hurts, right?
Sure.
Jalen Hurts, he definitely needs a better game, and I feel like he will have a better game. He will have a better game throwing the ball, doing everything that he has to do to keep this team up and running and keep this team afloat. And Saquon Barkley's going to do Saquon Barkley things. I need him to run the ball the very first play. The very first play the Eagles get the ball, run it. Mm-hmm. Make sure that Saquon Barkley gets the team going. Then you can throw it to Devontae, AJ, Goddard, who had a very nice stiff arm this past week. Shout out to Goddard for that. But, yeah, and then the defensive side, Zach Bond. I feel like he's going to be a menace. He's going to be everywhere, left, right, and center to just get
he's gonna have the green dot this week. So.
Oh my God, yeah. He's going to have the green dot. And what matchups I'm looking forward to the most is the corners against their wide receivers. You have Quinyon Mitchell against Cooper Kupp, and then you have Darius Slay against Puka Nacua. Mm-hmm. I can't wait to see that matchup. That matchup is going to be insane to watch. And then don't forget we have Gardner Johnson in the back. We got Gardner Johnson right there. So defense is going to light it up.
James, what would your breakdown of tomorrow's game be?
Yeah, I guess the thing, that's very good points by you, Joe. I mean, sorry, Mitch, to allude to your point. But here's the thing I really do like about the thing I took out of this game this week was very, the one thing I was really interested to see is that the stats that I saw out of the Rams the last time we checked, they're not as like even Bill Colarulo brought up on Mike Missinelli's show during the week. Said that they're not as a big juggernaut with the Puka Nakuas and the Cooper Cups and all that and stuff. But the thing that I really took out of this game this week is that people need to forget. People forgot how we went to LA and we actually went down into their own yard and also took that game. And it was not even a close game to begin with. It was actually towards the beginning of the second half, the opening drive of the first half, and that first play, second half rather, Saquon went down the field and just put the game out of reach. And I expect probably more of the same here this week, especially because Saquon to me is one of those players is that, especially when it's snowing like this, I think it's going to be one of those games that's going to be a short and modest game. I think it's going to be a short game, and I think it's going to be more so the same thing I take out of it too, is that sure, the passing is going to be a factor in this game too, but I think it's going to be more of a running game. So I really expect I expect probably Saquon to feast more and more, and probably the last thing I have to say about this too, with the Jalen Hurts thing, is it really troubles me a little bit. Not that how everybody's trying to make him out to be. It's just that everybody thinks he forgot how to play football. It's one of those things that really, really bothers me, because it's like, okay, if Jalen Hurts scored 4 touchdowns or 5 touchdowns, would you be complaining? No, absolutely not. Sure, he didn't play to the capability that he did, but he didn't have to. And it's just, this week I think is going to be the one thing I'll take out of it this week. I think it's going to be the same kind of ripple effect they had last week as well. And I think for me that it's going to be more of a run pass. I think it's going to be more running than passing, honestly. And it's going to, Jalen's going to play Jalen don't have to play a full 110% in this game today. And I think for me, the one thing I was really intrigued about too is that this defense is just playing on all cylinders, and they're going to do that same thing here this week too.
So here's my breakdown. It is that I feel like in the cold, I've played football in cold weather, and I've played football in snow. Probably the snow that I shouldn't have been playing in, but that's here nor there. But when you get hit in the cold, it jars you. It numbs your body.
Yeah.
Like, the Eagles team is going to take this LA 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 Land Rams, and they're going to take these guys and introduce them to what numb feels like. Because they're going to hit these guys so hard that they're going to be like, okay, can we get back on the plane? It's going to be a tempo setter if they come out like they did against the Packers. And the Rams, don't get me wrong, what's happening in LA is a tragedy. I get that.
Yeah.
But and we can have our prayers and we can donate and everything else. But if I'm going to sit here and turn the table and say it this way, let's do the Rams players a favor. Let's send them home so they can best help their families and their friends in LA.
There you go.
Let us handle the playoffs the rest of the way. You guys have enough on your plate. My feeling is
family comes first, man.
Yeah, and my feeling is this. With this game, there is something that people have not given much thought to, and that is that this, run game, and this isn't just Saquon, it's Jalen too. So you have those two options. Matthew Stafford's a statue. He's not running for anything. And then you have the run game that they already have. Kyron Williams, Cam Akers, whatever. Like, I'm not scared of either. And Williams came from Notre Dame, so I'm familiar with him. So the idea that, I'm supposed to be fearful of the Rams. Look, they're an NFL team. Are they going to come out here and they're going to play? Sure. but you got to take their heart early. Just like the Packers. I felt like after that opening kickoff, the Packers were just scuffling to get back. They did not know what hit them, literally.
Mm-hmm.
With the stats that matter in the sense that other people have been paying attention to, Matthew Stafford hasn't had a good record when it comes to playing in snow or rainy conditions. He's always been in the dome. He's always been protected. Well, brother, it's going to be in the teens tomorrow. Wind, snow, it's going to be as wintry as it can possibly be. So, welcome to Thunderdome, Matthew Stafford.
Well, I like what you said there, Joe. I really do, because the thing with Matthew Stafford is that, sure, I mean, people think that, I mean, even this week I saw all the stuff that like blew my mind about what happened, like ever since this game that they blew the Vikings out and all that. And the first thing I thought was, okay, let's see, Sam Darnold turned into Sam Darnold, and Matthew Stafford didn't look like Matthew Stafford. So for me this week, they made Sam Darnold look like Sam Darnold. Now it's time for the Eagles to make Matthew Stafford look like Matthew Stafford. So I think that's the one thing I took out of that too.
That's a great point. That is
a
great point. So Mitch, I'm going to start with you. Give me the player or the unit that you are looking forward to seeing in tomorrow's game. Which one do you think is going to be your MVP, whether it's a unit or a player for tomorrow's game?
There's so many options. First off, I'm not going with Jake Elliott. That's the first thing. I'm not going with Jake Elliott there. That's the first thing.
Jake the Snake
I love
again.
you, Jake. I love you, Jake, but take the day off tomorrow. Take the day off tomorrow.
Let's get the. I mean, here's another good example of that too. That Snow Bowl game too. I don't think they had a lot of field goals in that game.
There was no kicks.
There was no kicks. I thought so. So maybe the same thing tomorrow. Like, have a day off. Exactly right.
So for me, I'm gonna go offensive line here. I'm gonna go a different route, because with the offensive line, we wouldn't have Saquon Barkley doing what he's doing right now. We wouldn't have Jalen Hurts doing what Jalen Hurts is doing. He only got sacked twice last week. So for me, I'm gonna go to offensive line, clean the holes for Saquon Barkley to run through.
Stellar University coming out and
plow the fields, as they would say. Plow the fields.
Mr. Plow, where's Mr. Plow? Need him. What's that?
A lot of running tomorrow. A lot.
Oh, okay.
And so, James, who or what unit would you put as your highlighted player or unit for tomorrow's game?
Ooh. I'm going to go on the opposite direction of Mitch. I'm going to say the defensive line. That's going to be the big factor. I mean, because you think about it. I mean, last week the defensive line played their best football, obviously, and the last time I checked, when the Rams took on the Eagles too in that Week 12 matchup, it was also that defensive line becoming a factor, and obviously it was Brandon Graham and all that other stuff in between. But they're going to have that same kind of ripple effect that they had last week. I'm going to say the defensive line is going to make Matthew Stafford very, very uncomfortable. And I really hope that I like to see is one guy I want to see the more of the same as Nolan Smith did last week as it does for this week.
So there's a guy on this team that I basically fell on my sword about last week. And he's my MVP for tomorrow. Saquon Barkley.
Yep.
265 or 55 or something.
55 yards.
55 yards the last time they played the Rams. That was the game where he was asked by Nick Sirianni when it was mic'd up, do you want to go for the record? And he said, no, let the other ones eat. Understand something. There is no tomorrow, brother. You feed that beast as much as he possibly wants. All the steaks, all the chicken bones, all of it. You feed it all to Saquon.
Feed him the ball. Yeah,
he
I love
is going to eat that Rams defense. He got 255 yards in a dome. was against your defense. Now your defense is going to be on skates. How is your defense going to be able to tackle him now? Once he gets ahead of steam, bye-bye. He had 2 70-yard runs against the Rams the last time. He may have 2 or 3 this time. Listen, this could get out of hand. Because if the Rams can't stop Saquon, then why do the Eagles need to change their play scheme? I mean, to be honest, if he has 30 or 35 carries, even though that sounds like an exuberant amount, if it keeps the other offense off the field, but but punishes their defense, that cold weather, I don't know if either of you have ever run in cold weather, but it takes your oxygen away. So if you're running so much in cold weather, it's hard to get your breath. So let this defense be on skates. Plow the fields. Let this team feel you tomorrow. And listen, Saquon, you made a fan out of me. You made me wrong in so many ways, and I'm happy for it in some ways. But damn, dude, you are on a path. Now, if you want a Saquon jersey and represent the Eagles, because God knows Saquon's going to be going down as one of the greatest Eagles to ever have played the game, whether in a short-term window or a long-term window, go to our sponsors at rallyhouse.com. If you want to get your hands on a Jordan Mailata jersey, go to rallyhouse.com. If you want to go get your hands on the Beast Jalen Carter jersey, go to rallyhouse.com. James, tell them more about rallyhouse.com.
Yeah, absolutely. And you also nailed it on the head on all those cylinders about what you said about the jerseys that you can own. And I got myself one from Rally House too. If somebody bought it from Rally House, I really do appreciate it. Anyway, Rally House is the #1 place to go for all things Eagles merchandise, for all your jerseys, hats, and so much stuff in between. They got you covered just in time for game day. And now this is something that you'll mostly enjoy. Now you can sport your Eagles jerseys and pride at the link this season and also be the envy of friends and viewers alike. You can scan that QR code at the bottom of your screen and score big right now at rallyhouse.com. That is at rallyhouse.com.
All right, boys. So we're going to do something a little different. So we have 4 games on the NFL docket.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to leave the Eagles to last, but I want to go around the league and get your predictions on what you guys think is going to happen for the other 3 games. First is, I'll start with you, Mitch. Kansas City and Houston. Who do you think is going to win? How bad do you think the game, what do you think is going to happen in the game?
But first, I have to give myself a Quinyon Mitchell jersey at Rally House. I'm sorry, I had to throw it out there. I had to. But I got the keys.
Hey, whatever.
There you go.
I got the keys.
Quinyon Bay is here to stay.
Let's say, for example, if it's not Quinyon Mitchell, would Brian Mitchell be good too, man?
Oh my, Freddie Mitchell?
Brian Mitchell. No,
I love Brian Mitchell, but I love Freddie Mitchell more because I was there at 4th and 26.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, he's actually one of my favorite players of all time because of that catch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna go with Kansas City Chiefs here. I feel.
Leave that one alone.
Yeah, looks. That Rodney Dangerfield Caddyshack look looks good on you though, Joe.
All right, I'm gonna go with the Kansas City Chiefs because of Patrick Mahomes. Right. You can't. It's like so hard to go against this guy, and so hard to go against Travis Kelce and Andy Reid and that wide receiver that they got, Worley, that fast one. He's gonna be the next Tyreek Hill. Buffalo Bills, what are you doing? This guy's gonna eat all over you this weekend.
Literally,
all right, no, the Buffalo's playing. Yeah, my bad.
Literally, when they drafted Worley, I was like, they just got their next Tyreek Hill. What the hell?
Yep.
What the hell?
Thank you, Buffalo.
Yeah, it was sitting there for Buffalo, and I'm like, okay, so Buffalo's going to get nope. And then Kansas City was like, okay, we'll take them. And I'm thinking, what the hell is wrong with you?
My dad is so pissed on that. It's like, why?
I'll tell you this right now. In Madden, I trade to get him. I'm not stupid. I'm like, you're going to outrun everybody, and you're on a rookie contract. I'm like, yeah, sure. James,
Chad says the Kansas City Swifties. Oh God. Oh boy. Don't go there, please. Please don't go there.
Not bad enough that my daughter loves Taylor Swift. I don't need that.
No, he's a Steelers fan, so he's still upset here.
I see.
He's a Steelers fan, so he's still a little bit upset here. So let's just
you know what this is?
Touche.
The smallest violin playing just for you.
My sympathy, brother.
Listen, your Steelers might be out of a head coach. I'm just saying.
Yeah, right.
We'll see. But James, Kansas City, Houston, what do you think's going to happen in the game?
This is a very good question because I like both teams. Obviously, I like C.J. Stroud. I always even when he played my Bulldogs a couple years ago, I was going to be like, dude, this guy's.
You're a closet Buckeyes fan.
No, I'm not. Just for this week, dude.
I'm starting not to like you now.
You see where this is going? C.J. Stroud, he's a fan of a Buckeye.
No, that's not get crazy. I mean, look, I'm not a closet Buckeye fan. I just can't stand Notre Dame. I dealt with it all my life for as a Grace Ferry, and I can't do it. I got to sold out to the devil. I don't care.
Okay, what about Rudy? You liked Rudy?
That's a no.
That's a
no.
No.
That's a no. I don't care what he says. That sigh is a no.
Look, I mean, I got to admit, I used to like it back in the day when I was in my junior year, obviously, because LeMaestro used to watch it. My teacher up at Newman Goretti during Christmas time. But that's I mean, and the music beds were fantastic for that. But as far as the movie, I don't know.
All right. Yeah. So I'm also gonna. So did you?
No, I didn't pick my prediction yet. So yeah, this could be the game that Kansas City wins again, obviously, because I mean C.J. Stroud don't got Tank Dell. They don't got I mean even Joe Mixon. I don't know if he's listed as questionable or something. I don't know if he's playing or not. So, but you guys nailed it on the head with Kansas City. I mean, Xavier Worthy's great. Travis Kelce's great. Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes being Patrick Mahomes, yeah. So, hate to say it, but I got to go with Kansas City again.
Here's the thing. Can we stop gifting Patrick Mahomes good weapons? Can the NFL stop?
Really?
Can the other GM stop gifting him good weapons? He doesn't need help. Stop helping.
He can do it himself. He can
stop helping. Don't be stupid. Stop helping. So
and also he's got Mahomes and Odo too.
It's not like safe. It's not like State Farm.
No, that's what I said. Mahomes and Odo.
Yeah, but. So I obviously have the Chiefs. I'm like you, James. I like C.J. Stroud.
Yeah,
I think he's a good player. I think the Texans are on the rise, but the sucky thing is for any team in the AFC, you got to go through Patrick Mahomes. He's the new Tom Brady and the new New England Patriots, and I will never hate Andy Reid. I will never. If he wins 6 or 7 Super Bowls, he will never be viewed as like another Bill Belichick to me. He won't be. He's Andy. And so I will forever love what he did in this city, in this town. Kind of wish he would have not been fired, but that's here nor there now. That's looking backwards. We're looking forward. So, I got Kansas City winning this pretty heftily. Unfortunately. So let's go to the next one. Mitch, Detroit Commanders.
I'm gonna go with Detroit here. I know they're too banged up, but they always find a way to get it done when they're on the field. no matter how banged up they are. Just imagine if they had Hutchinson still. If they had Hutchinson, it would be on a different level. But I'm still gonna go to Lions.
James, what about you?
I like to see an upset. I would love to see an upset. Forgive me for saying this, but I want that game next week here at the link. I want to see Washington and the Eagles. So I got to go with the Comotes for this week.
Wow. You had commies, you had Commodores, I've never heard commodes. That's an interesting way of putting it. Okay.
And we actually have a couple comments here from a Rams fan.
Yeah, Rod. I'm not gonna. Want me to show him? So
yeah.
Bring him up. Sure,
okay. Yeah, Rod comes in and says, "Rams are about to smoke some birds." Okay, strike one. And Stafford's gonna ball out. Now you're down on the count 0-2, buddy.
What is this, baseball?
Well, I mean, look.
Okay. On what basis does he think that Stafford's going to ball out in the snow?
Right.
On what basis? Like, just give me that. Like, what basis do you have that on?
Well, I'll wait for him to respond.
But for me, James, I have been teetering on this, and I'm glad you took the stand.
There we go.
I might cower.
No, he just said, "Nah, you just can't go against Stafford and against McVay and Stafford." I mean, go out tomorrow, but I disagree.
Okay, first off, I'm going to say something that someone else said on the radio, which I agree with. Can we stop putting Sean McVay on like the Mount Rushmore of coaches? He only has one Super Bowl.
It really is ridiculous.
He has the same amount of Super Bowls as Doug Peterson. Okay, let's stop.
Stop. Oh yeah, that's right. He won a couple years ago. I don't think he won a Super Bowl, but I forgot
he won one. That was it.
That's it.
Matthew Stafford fell or pushed off somebody off the stage. So you guys don't even know how to party once you win a Super Bowl. So there's that. Look, to each his own. Rams fans, every fan is welcome here.
Mm-hmm.
But just keep in mind, when you bring the smoke to this panel, you're going to get it back. Like, don't expect to just have us cower in the corner. But here's the thing. So I wanted to pick the Commanders. I really do. But I think the energy that's going to be in that stadium tomorrow is going to like overwhelm the Commanders.
Yeah.
I think I have to pick Detroit, even though I don't want to. I don't want to. I want the NFC Championship game to be here. This is kind of like I want Detroit to win, but if the Commanders win, I'm not like hating it. So next game is the game that I think is gonna have everybody watching. Ravens and Bills. Mitch, this is a tough one.
Ooh.
Yeah, it is. I'm gonna go with the Ravens here, though. I just feel like with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, that combination, that run game is just too deadly, and I just feel like their defense is gonna be too much. So I'm gonna go with the Ravens.
James, Bills Ravens, probably the game of the year.
Yeah. I want to go with Buffalo, but at the same time, Lamar Jackson is playing at an MVP level, and the Bills always start to collapse this time of year. I gotta go with Baltimore too. I think Baltimore might be the best team to take on Kansas City. Josh Allen, I mean, he's had himself a very, very MVP kind of level season. So for me, yeah, I got to go with the Ravens too. I don't see the Bills advancing to the next round, honestly.
So this is where I got to disagree with both of you. I'm going Buffalo Bills Mafia. We are. I want to see the Bills and the Chiefs in an AFC Championship game, and then I want to see the Bills in the Super Bowl. and I want to see them against the Eagles because I think that's going to be ravenous. You want to talk about both fan bases in New Orleans? Big Easy is going to become the big bumping when that stadium goes. I mean, because between what the Bills Mafia does and what the Eagles Nation does, like that's going to just be insane. So, it was my prediction towards the beginning of the year that if I feel like the Bills could make it to the Super Bowl, I honestly look, at some point they're going to break through. But this is where I feel like the other shoe's going to drop, Buffalo. You guys are going to be just like your former teams. You're going to get to the Super Bowl and you're going to lose. And I'm sorry that that's going to be the storyline that you're going to write on your franchise's ticket throughout the history. But you're going to meet the Philadelphia Eagles and you're going to lose. So let's go to our game. The Philadelphia Eagles and the LA Rams. It's going to be an exciting game from beginning to end for sure. Mitch, give me your prediction, your prediction on how the game's going to go, and then give me your score prediction.
The Eagles, right? I'm just drawing a blank. I'm sorry. You said the Eagles game?
Yeah.
Okay. So for the prediction right away, I'm going to go 24-20 Birds. I feel like it's going to be very, very down to the wire. It's going to be a run game, especially in the snow. So it's going to be a hard-fought game, and then I'm going 24-20.
Yeah,
James, what about you?
yeah. Rod says the same thing you did. He said maybe like a 23-20 game. So you and Mitch are, you and Rod are in the same boat. And
So wait, me and Mitch Mitchkov? Where is he?
I swear to God, if we get Mitchkov on this program, I'm putting
it's gonna be like Cordell and Cordell.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth. It's gonna be like Johnson and Johnson connection.
He set me up for it, so I'm like, I had to take it.
Well, here's the thing too. If let's say, for example, right, like we get another guest on our show, and we get John Johnson on from WIP, like,
I had him on. I can get you him if you want.
Oh, dude, that'd be great, man.
I can definitely set something up. Yeah, for sure.
Great, man. That'd be great.
Yeah, let me shoot him a DM and I'll get back.
Sure. So, James, what's your prediction on tomorrow's game, and what's your score prediction as well?
I gotta go with the Eagles on this one, but everybody's saying it's gonna be a close game, probably because of the snow. Probably that's gonna tell you all you need to know about that. So this is one of those games that I thought it was gonna be a blowout because obviously, like Matthew Stafford is gonna turn into Matthew Stafford, like I brought up earlier. But for me, I think it's gonna be more of a close game, and I have to go 27-23. 27-23 Birds.
So tomorrow's game, I'm picking the Rams. No, I'm
what?
kidding.
Oh God! Don't do that, man. Dude, don't do that, man.
I knew he was being sarcastic.
What the hell? Why the hell would I pick a team that can't figure out what city they want to play in? Okay, why the hell would I pick a team that comes all the way over to the East Coast and has their rookie defensive lineman talking trash? Dude, I'm going to teach you a real quick lesson about the NFL. Don't give us bulletin board material. We already come out and we're going to hurt you. Now you've kind of singled yourself out. Have you not watched what's happened in this city in the last 2 or 3 years? When someone gives this city a bulletin board material, you see what happens to that player? They become this small. So understand something. Tomorrow's game is going to be a bloodbath. I feel like this game is going to be a runaway. Not at first. But it's like I said earlier. They're going to keep running the ball, and that defensive line is going to wear in the cold and everything. they're going to wear. They defensive lines have worn down not in the cold against our offense. So imagine what happens when you're in the cold and you're gasping for air. I have the Eagles winning 27-13.
There you go.
So my feeling is we go on to the NFC Championship game. And whether it's Detroit or the Commanders, or as James has pleasantly put it, the Commodes, we are going to win.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to next week because we're going to have our good friend Frank Finnegan, the wisdom that it's going to be on. And he's going to be able to be Nostradamus and tell all of us what's going to happen in the championship game and what's going to happen in the Super Bowl. And look, I'm not counting the Rams out. You could come in with all the fire and brimstone and all the angst and all of that. That's fine. We come in knowing what we are capable of doing. And that's what's going to matter the most. This team isn't going home after tomorrow. This team has so much more to fight for than just, getting to the divisional round and quitting. Look, the one thing we didn't mention is that Kellen Moore is up for 3 coaching positions.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you this right now. He's not a Jonathan Gannon.
Right.
I know this because he's already said it on plenty of occasions that he's not quite that interested in a head coaching position. Why interview? Because you don't want to leave any stone unturned. He doesn't have to accept any of them. But here's my thing, is this team is primed to win on Sunday, primed to win going forward. Now, all we have to do is sit back and watch it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our show for today. For our guest, Mitch Kofsky, where can they find you, Mitch? I thought I said Mitchkov, and I said your real name.
No, you actually got it right.
Screwed it wrong here, man.
Nailed it, dude. Said the pronunciation perfectly.
That was just perfect. Now I got to give myself a Cornell Mitchell, Brian Mitchell, Freddie Mitchell. I have to give myself one of those jerseys, but
I think I'll give you a Mitch Williams jersey too at the same time.
Get you a
the
Mitch
thing with Mitch
jersey.
Williams is that Phil ruined it.
Oh.
He had everyone in his chat call me Mitchy Poo because of that.
Yep. Well, I remember when we were on the locker room with Mike Loro, and like I didn't know you at the time, and
Right.
I heard Mitch, and the first thing that popped into my mind was Harry Callis's Mitchy Poo.
Yeah.
So like I said Mitchy Poo, I'm like, wait a minute, I probably shouldn't be calling some dude Mitchy Poo, and I don't know him. I'm like, so I turned to Mike. I'm like, can you text him and say I didn't mean anything bad by it? And he's like, oh no, everybody calls him Mitchy Poo. I'm like, okay, he doesn't know me like that, Mike. Like,
yeah, see,
Yeah,
even
Mitch
my
says
cat.
Yeah, but Mitch Cassidy, he says too.
Oh, God.
Mitch
Anyway, Mitch Richmond. Yeah. Oh my God. But yes, guys, you can find me on Mitch Coxey YouTube, Mitch Cox, Hardcore Sports Network, Steampunk Entertainment, and we're actually launching a new channel called a Hardcore Play and Rewind, so we can do video games and movie podcasts, Netflix podcasts, whatever you guys want to talk about. So that's going to launch either today or next week, depending if I'm lazy or not. But anyway, yeah, you can find me all there, bro.
Very rad, man. Very cool.
Might be trying to jump on a couple of those because I mean, I'll be honest, like that. It's interesting. I'm a game. I lost my sight about 4 years ago, but I was an avid gamer, and so I have fond memories of me gaming. I'm also a TV/movie buff, but I'm very particular about my shows and movies because I need a good storyline. I can't deal with just the slow moving storyline. Like, I need the plot, damn it.
Yeah.
For Mitch Kofsky, my fabulous and amazing producer James Scorza. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, brother. Glad to be on it once again, my friend.
I'm Joe Marks, not Mitch Koff, not anybody else. I'm Joe Marks. This is the Patterson Ave Sports Show. Go Birds. We'll see you next weekend.
Go Birds.